Welcome back, fellow shop rats. We're continuing on with our refurbish project here on this hood off of this vintage 1970 Duster drag car. We got most of that side all done. We just got to finish it up. But we have a rust patch here that we have to make. So today that's what we're going to get into. But before we do that, let's review everything we've done on this project up to this point. So we've accomplished quite a bit. We still want to get these pieces of strap metal down the side of the hood to reinforce and strengthen. But before we do that, I really want to get this opened up here and get the mouse nest out of here that caused this damage, and then get a patch made in this area here to get this part of the hood solid again. So let's get after that today. I'm Mike, and you're watching My Car Shop. The little bite philosophy sometimes can leave things feeling a bit tedious on a project like this. But I'm trying different ways to present the projects in ways that if you came in the middle of the project, you haven't missed a whole lot. You get a quick overview, and then you can go back and view what was done should you want more details. It's not always possible for sure. I mean, I can't, like on a project like the Stitches Challenger, that's not as easy to do that because we've been working on that car for almost 4 years. But on a piece on a project like this, I really think that's going to work. And I'm going to try that same thing on the trunk floor on the Challenger here when I get to that in a couple of days, because that will also be several episodes to get that trunk floor installed. I'm hoping to get that wrapped up in another week. So we'll see how that goes. Week, maybe 2 weeks, but we're moving really well forward on that. Anyway, shut up, Mike. This makes sparks and cut metal. Don't remember if I've showed you in depth what we're dealing with, but we have a mouse nest inside of here that caused this to rot out. So we're going to cut this open here and get this piece of metal replaced in that vicinity to the best of our ability. One of the challenges here is definitely that we have this hood mount in there that we need to deal with. But I think we came out all right on this. It's going to be an interesting little piece to make. But our hood hinge, our hood bolt mounts are still in its original capture device, and it's still pretty good. But we got all this hoo-ha down in there, which is what caused all of this rust. I tried to open this up a little bit bigger without getting into that mechanism. I think we did all right on that, definitely. So let's get all of our hoo-ha out of here, and that way it won't rust again. There we go on that. I got it all sucked out. I blew it out good. I reached up in there as much as I could, got it out. So good to go. I grabbed the vacuum, sucked down in there, blew up from there. So I think we're in good shape now. So we'll get this last little bit sucked up, but I just wanted to show you, they get in this, they build their nests, they pee in it. Their pee is extremely acidic, and it holds that moisture, and it causes this corrosion. Mice are terribly destructive in that matter. Mice don't drink water. We've talked about this before, but mice don't drink water. So the only moisture they get is out of whatever they eat, and their pee is extremely concentrated. And that's why it's so terribly acidic and destructive to things like metal when it gets into material like this. All right, I just spent some time getting this loose because it was stuck. So you got a little more mouse material in there. We'll get out of there. I'm going to blow some lubricant in here or some oil or something on the inside. Remember, on that side, we had to make all of that new because it was rotted. I felt around in here. This one's still really solid, so thank God for that. But I want to be sure it's lubricated, and that way it won't rust in the future. So I think my next goal now is to make a template that will go there. And yeah, I think that's what we're up to. So we'll make a template, and then we'll start cutting some metal. We'll make that out of 18 gauge like we did on the other side, and we'll get this all patched up. I mean, it's all done now. We just got to finish it. So what I'm doing is, at this point, I am just bending this edge over like this, and I'm intending to fit this underneath. I think that's going to really help me, because when I was trying to butt weld on the other side, this metal is 24 gauge. It's super thin, and it was causing me issues, and I didn't have any tissues. So my intention at this point is to just try and, as simply as possible, get this cleaned up, straightened up, and put my patches underneath on that edge as much as possible. So I think we're going to be okay there like that. We got a little massaging to do here and there, but yeah, the biggest thing is going to be getting this bolt hole here, because I'm not doing the whole bolt hole. I didn't want to mess with the original metal as much as possible, so I have to make this just the very top of the bolt hole across there. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I got to get it close. So yeah, that's all I'm doing right now, is I'm just going through and test fitting things and wiggling it and knocking it in there and stuff like that. So I need to get this knocked up just a little bit that way to make this fit a little better, and then we can metal form it back in as we go. But then I need to get this edge bent over here where it needs to be. So let's get that line marked in where it needs to be right now, so that I can start working on that edge. Once I get this bent in my 90, then I can work on getting my top bolt hole here, and then bending this down in where I'm going to put it inside the hood like I did on the other side. I do two things here. I try not to put it too tight. I don't clamp it down tight. I just hold it loose, and then I just start bending it. And I move it in a little bit, because I'm trying to get a wider radius than just a normal 90. So I'm just trying to wiggle it just a little bit. So you can see what's happening is I'm starting to get a nice wide bend, and then I can go back and start to tighten that up a little bit, like so. Again, I'm not clamping it down super tight. I'm actually wanting to do a relaxed radius on this. So you can see how I'm starting to get a relaxed radius. That's pretty good. And I got a nice relaxed radius by not clamping that down hard. Hopefully that's in a pretty decent position. And if it's not, so what? We'll move it. Yep, I did. I realized that as I was bending it, I made it. The bend is this is all too narrow. So it's a simple process. I'll put it in the vise. We'll just tink it around and get it where we want it to be. So let me share how I do that with you. Okay, so yeah, I need to stretch that out in there, so I'm just doing this. So I've already moved that probably a good 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch. Not bad. Not bad at all. Okay. Now this needs to go down in here like this. Yeah, we're actually pretty good. But the issue is here now. I need to get my bolt hole done. So I'm going to try to get this as close as I can into position, and then see if I can find a position. So I just need to take out a chunk like that. I'll do that with my snips. These are straight snips, probably not the best. Let me get my left-handers. Didn't get them down in the jaws far enough to get it started. Okay, so I'm using my left-handed snips. There we go. Pretty good. Not too shabby. Okay, we're going to have to do a little massaging here to be able to get stuff in. Yeah, not too bad. We got issues yet, but we're not too bad. It needs to come this way a lot. Well, my top is too curved for one thing, so we need to flatten that out. And I probably need to knock a bunch off the bottom of this here. I need my right-hand snips. Let me go grab those. It's all about just snaking your way up into it. Yep, those are my right ones. Put her in again. Yeah, there we go. Much better. Got a lot more room to wiggle now. So now we need to figure that out. It's catching right here. Yep, that's all that's holding me back, I think. Yeah, left sides. Let's just take a little snoop off the corner. Get her back down in there. Yep, that's pretty close. So I'm going to do a little trick here, and it'll be a treat for you. So I'll be right back. All right, so I got it cleaned up, and I got it painted on the back side, and I welded a bolt on the top so that it's really easy for me now to just come in here like this and fit it where it needs to be fitted. I got a booger. There we go. Bugger of a booger. A booger of a bugger. And that needs to be down like that. That's actually pretty respectable right there. I wouldn't mind bending this out a little bit here. There's not much metal there. Okay, there we go. It'll give me a little more latitude for my attitude. That's pretty good. Okay, yeah, that's really good. I feel like I got a little bit of a hump right there. I want to hammer that over on the thing, and I'll be right back. I like that. I like that a lot. The only thing I got to do now is, now that I got it close, I got to make my slot hole out here right. Okay, so I got to cut out a bunch of this. Oh, let's see. These are lefts. This will work. So I got to get my metal cleaned up here now with my grindage. Always make sure you're not grinding into the edge. Grind over it this way. Very happy with that. Okay, let's make her sew number one. I think my slot is a little bit off. Yep, it is. Not bad. Well, no, it's all right. I can always take a rat tail file and freshen that up if I need to. So I think we'll be all right. All right, I think we're going to go bzz, bzz, and start bzz, bzz, bzz. Well, I don't know what happened to that. I lost that last segment. But anyway, I had that all ground up. It looked good. I've just shot it with some primer now. There's a few flaws in it, but we're welding 14 or 24 gauge to 18 gauge. This is super thin. I'd rather leave a few imperfections and just put a little swoosh of something over it. Plus, we still have this thing to get in here. We got to machine some slots or cut some slots for that and get that reinforcement on this side, just like we're doing on the other side. So overall, I'm really thrilled with the way that turned out. We'll let that dry and we'll come back here in just a minute. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. You remember the context of this car. We're not trying to make it perfect. We're trying to make it done. And we can hit that with a little tiger hair if we want. Not sure what we're going to do yet. But it's way down in the bottom of the hinge area also, so you're not going to hardly see it anyway. This car is not being restored concourse, and that's the context of it. So, but overall, I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, for no finish work at all, I think it's a whole lot better than a big old rust hole, and it's got some strength to it again, so that will preserve that fairly well. So the next thing we've got to do is get in here and finish this welding and then get this cleaned up. I'm out of time for today, but I think probably the next project on this hood is going to be getting these 2 reinforcement braces down the inside of this hood structure. I'm looking around it here, seeing if there's anything else we need to dress up. I know there was a little hole. Yeah, there's one right here. I don't know if I'm going to mess with that or not. Maybe, maybe not. I got some ideas on a quick patch we could do on that. So we'll see. But overall, in my overalls, I think it overall looks overall good. Well, I think that looks pretty stinking good. No complaints on my part for that. Yeah, it needs a little touch up, but again, we're welding 18 gauge patches into 24 gauge. So we're going 40 thousandths steel and we're welding it into 20 thousandths steel. We could have used something thinner, but that would have made it even worse. And I really wanted some good structural metal in there for these patches. Plus, it's just a little easier to form that 18 gauge than it would be some thinner metal. You just got a little more resiliency there. So for patches like this, it's good. We'll just buzz over that with a little tiger hair and you won't even know that was patched. So that's the decision I've made. That's all I got for today. My camera keeps dying and I'm out of time anyway. I appreciate you being here. We'll be back on this again, getting those reinforcement straps in on this hood in our next episode, as well as finishing welding the passenger side that we put those big patches in that you saw in the previews of what has been, or whatever, the review of what has been in past episodes. All right, we'll catch you on the next one. Don't forget, because it's important.